Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the second race on the round of 16 of the 2021 Midwest Sim Racing Association Premier Series playoffs. Tonight, we bring you coverage of the Red Camel Racing 200, live from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Jacob Pitts and Terry Radford, with our producer, Ryan Bauer, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And we welcome all of you to the second race of the playoffs, the round of 16. And Jacob is already starting exactly how the regular season went. Boyd Hogan with the win 1 week ago. He's locked into the next round, the round of 12. But his job is not over yet. Still needs to have solid finishes to keep up with the momentum that he has had this entire regular season leading through these rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah, he's won the last 4 races in a row, looking to make it number 5 tonight at Richmond. He's won a lot so far this year. He's not done winning, there's no doubt about it. If he isn't your championship favorite, he probably should be, just because in every single round there's at least one racetrack where he's probably got a great chance of going to victory lane.
And Terry, there's still a handful of drivers that are under that cut line or on that cut line, specifically race winner from Bristol Dirt, the race that we broadcasted a while ago here on Podium Esports, won by the 63 of Logan Helton. Not making a start last week at Darlington due to him being at the actual race now leads to him being right above that cut line by a handful of points. Not really desperation setting in yet for the drivers under or on the cut line, but another bad run here at Richmond could lead them to being in that stage next week.
Yeah, and this racetrack's hard. You come in here, and this is not the track you want to be on a cut line, or below a cut line for that matter, because when you come in here, you have to be on the wheel. You got to be gripping the wheel. You got to be perfect on the pedals. If you're not, you could turn potentially that 1 week that you missed into a complete and utter disaster. So I look forward to seeing those guys being patient tonight, trying to get their way up to the front as quickly as possible.
I don't think it's a surprise for everybody watching at home. The winner of the first time they were at Richmond earlier this season, it was Boyd Hogan who got the win. Here's the points as we currently sit. And as you can see, Boyd Hogan leaps and bounds above of everybody else. Of course, getting extra playoff points from stage wins as well as race wins, putting him already well above the cut line coming into the playoffs, Jacob. But now with that win, he's securely locked in. Vincent Arthur going to have a little bit more work to do tonight to try and get himself locked in on points come the next round at Bristol.
Yeah, he's going to have a stronger run tonight if he wants to lock himself in, not have to worry too much at Bristol. But it's a long race tonight, and, you know, he's got to have the confidence that he can run up there and do well tonight throughout the stages.
At this time, we would like to welcome Joseph McWhorter, driver for Ground Zero Racing, and tonight's in-race reporter to the booth. Joseph, welcome to the Red Camel Racing 200 pre-race show, and thank you for your time this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome to be here. Really appreciate you guys putting on the broadcast tonight. It's going to be really exciting.
Now, of course, Red Camel Racing, the title sponsor of this race here tonight from Richmond Raceway. What would you like viewers to learn about at home about Red Camel Racing?
Red Camel Racing has been around for a few years now. They build all of their own stuff in-house, fire suits, helmets and stuff like that. They also have, all kinds of customization that you can add on top of that. They have workwear, whether it's on track or, at home. They do really good work. I mean, my fire suit, which is in this square bag right here, is just so nice. The quality was really impressive.
And of course, coming into tonight, them being the title sponsor, where can people find out more information about Red Camel Racing?
Yeah, you can look them up on redcamelracing.com. They have all kinds of different products, all the way from shoes, head socks, everything. They actually just got their shoes approved for SFI ratings. So that's really exciting. They got all kinds of different designs and even leather designs if you want to do that too. So make sure you go check them out, redcamelracing.com. And you can also find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at redcamelracing.com or at redcamelracing.
Thank you very much for joining us in the pre-race show tonight, Joseph. Good luck in tonight's Red Camel Racing 200, and we'll be checking back in with you throughout the race tonight.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I love this track.
That was Joseph McWhorter, driver of the number 32 Chevrolet for Ground Zero Racing, and tonight's in-race reporter. Just like that, field is ready to take to the grid, and we'll take a look at how they will line up to begin tonight's race here from Richmond. It's Boyd Hogan on the pole, a blazing fast time of a 21.265. He'll lead the field to green to the inside of Chris Severa on that first road. Joseph McWhorter, who we just spoke with, starts to the inside of row 2 with Ralph Hutchison to his outside for Lockdown Racing. Clayton Hoffman and John Theodore share row 3, Jacob.
Row 4, we've got Vincent Arthur on the inside, and on the outside, Derek Whitford. Brandon Davis starts from P9 with Stephen Davis to the outside. Jacob Shorba and John Mullins round out the top 12, Terry.
Yeah, row 7, Scott Schroeder, Zach York. In that row, Logan Helton, Jeff Schrutz, Braxton DeWeese, and TJ Chapman.
And of course, all the drivers back from Logan Helton not taking times in qualifying. Channing Ballou and Ryan Strunk going to share that 10th row. 20 cars getting ready to line up here at the Richmond Raceway, and what a track this is. Of course, the original surface here was dirt, was paved over, and now has become one of the most famous tracks in the NASCAR circuits, and a relatively difficult one to get around, but I'd say, Jacob, deceptively tricky. Normally people will take a look at this and, it's just a normal short track, but it gets very difficult, especially entrance to turn number 1 and exit of turn 4 coming onto that curved front straightaway.
It certainly does make things a challenge for these guys. There's not a ton of banking here like we see at Bristol, but it's not completely flat like when we're at Martinsville either. There's kind of a mix in between, and the banking doesn't change a ton from the exit of turn 4 down the front straightaway and then to the entrance to turn number 1. It pretty much stays even for the most part. Back straightaway almost completely flat though, so that makes the back straightaway, exit to 2, entrance to 3 a little bit easier. You come off 4, you're trying to keep that thing off the wall, prevent that thing from spinning out on you as you're turning the wheel to the left. When you get down into the corner in turn 1, get on the brakes, same thing, you're trying to prevent that car from spinning out on you as you get to the apex of the corner.
And Terry, looking at the breakdown of tonight's race, stage 1, we're going to go racing for 55 laps. Same thing in stage 2, going to lap 110. Then a final 90-lap stage to complete 200 laps tonight. Looking at the fuel window, they can technically make it all the way through the end of the second stage without pitting one time for fuel, but not the best idea with the Goodyear tires on these cars.
No, not a good idea at all. And this track right here is going to eat the rubber off of the right sides in particular. I could see somebody taking left side tires, maybe trying to roll the dice just a little bit. But these playoff contenders are going to have to be on their toes because this is their opportunity to go outside the box and maybe come away with a win.
And of course, 2 pace laps here at the Richmond Raceway, so we'll go around one more time with this track being just about 3/4 of a mile long. And as the field comes across the start-finish line, as we work our way through this race tonight, obviously the dates that this race falls on is being recognized here throughout the field. Everybody in the field running, never forget on their windshield banners, because 20 years ago, obviously, the tragic events of September 11th, 2001, and 20 years later, we continue to remember, and we will have a silent moment from lap 9 to lap 11 tonight. And as the field rounds their way through turns 3 and 4, like we did earlier this season on Memorial Day weekend for 600 miles at Charlotte, racing in remembrance tonight. Boyd Hogan leads the field to green. Let's go racing! It's race 2 of the round of 16 in the playoffs. Good jump by Hogan already to get to the inside in turn number 1. Take a look at Joseph McWhorter poking his nose into P2. He's already going to take that spot from Sivera. Hutchison going to stay in P4 rather, as everybody starts to get into their groove. Everybody down on the bottom of the racetrack. Dominant line here early, Jacob.
And this is where we're going to see everybody try and get single file as early as they can, just because the outside line here, yeah, you can roll it, but the more you use that outside line, the more your tires get anger with you, and you're going to have less grip as time goes on.
And of course, not really feeling the lack of grip yet at the beginning of this run, Terry, but it is going to very quickly creep up on these guys. And assuming we don't see a caution here in stage number 1, they can go all the way to the end of the stage. But Mullins gets way up out of the groove. The 64 looks like he might have tapped the wall coming through turns 1 and 2. But as I was saying, Terry, about the tires, they can make it to the end of the stage, but they're going to have to nurse those tires through these 55 laps.
Yeah, they're going to have to be really, really patient, and that's a tough break right there for the 64. As he went up the racetrack, made a slight little bit of contact with the front end of another vehicle, went into the wall. Not a lot of contact, but that could have damaged the tires because he had to scrub them all the way up to it.
We'll have to see how the 64 can bounce back. He went all the way back from roughly about mid-pack down to P19 as we see battles going on around P number 8. Derek Whitford goes way up to the outside. Brandon Davis to the inside in the number 91. They go side by side down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Further back from there, Shorba goes side by side with Zach York, but that number 91 Podium Esports machine on the inside for P8, and he'll have it for the moment, but that outside line seems to be viable, Jacob, but that inside line seems to be prevailing, especially on the exit of these corners. And as they race back into turn 3, give a little bit of an advantage to Brandon Davis. Can he clear him? Just barely gets up in front of the 44.
Like I mentioned, you keep running that outside line, you're not going to have the longevity on the tires. You're not going to have the grip that you will if you just stick to the bottom. So you can make a couple passes early on the outside line when you're on fresh tires, but after about 30, 40 laps, you try that outside line, you're going to be in trouble.
Just going on board there with a moment with Zach York, another one of those playoff drivers. You can see exactly who is in the playoffs by their green highlight on our timing tower and our horizontal timing that you can see at the top of your screen currently. But as they work their way back to the front straightaway, we'll take a moment of silence for all the lives lost on September 11th, 2001. course, every day we remember the lives lost on September 11, 2001, but 20 years later, we are making sure that we never forget that tragic day. Back to the racing on the racetrack right now, and Ralph Hutchison gets very loose coming off of turn number 2. He's going to lose 1 spot to Clayton Hoffman, make that 2 as Vincent Arthur goes around the outside. Hutchison falls a little bit on board with podium's own John Theodore, watching from P7, and Terry, as they start to shuffle around, all 4 of these drivers up here are playoff drivers, and you go all the way back now through the top 8, all playoff drivers running at the front of this field. Not surprising to see why exactly they are playoff drivers.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on, quote Macho Man Randy Savage, but the cream rises to the top. 12th place is another playoff driver, kind of struggled just a little bit, made just a little bit of a bobble off the exit of the corner in that 30 machine, but he's rebounding. He's coming back up through the field, but always your playoff drivers are going to be nearly at the front each and every time you come around this racetrack.
You can see still side by side. That's Zach York trying to get P11 away from Jacob Shorba. On board with Logan Helton, who's watching on. Not the best start of the night for this Nexus Esports number 63, but I think definitely Jacob is going to be in the running for that best paint scheme award. A very amazing looking paint scheme and a great job from SNG Graphics done on that machine. But as they continue to race, all 3 of these drivers here are playoff drivers, and Helton coming into tonight has very little experience in the MSRA Premier Series here at specifically Richmond. He did not start the first race here at Richmond, and last week at Darlington didn't start that race either, so he's coming back into the series tonight with only a handful of points good to that cut line, being about 2 to be exact in the round of 12.
Yeah, he needs a good run tonight, and one thing that's going to play to the disadvantage of those that are around that cut line is the fact that we only have 20 drivers in the field tonight. You know, there are 28 chartered rides, I think 28, 29, and we have a field of 20. So not everybody's showing up. It doesn't help that there's a real race going on at the same time of this. But for guys that are in the back that need points, it doesn't allow as much of an opportunity for somebody that is higher up, that's in front of them, to have a problem, not be able to finish, and they'll still get 20th place points instead of 30th or 40th place points.
And I think something that's going to help Logan Helton and a couple of the other drivers, specifically talking about Brandon Davis, talking about Zach York, Ben Myatt, Chad Gunningsman are both also not in this race. They are 15th and 16th currently in points. So gives them a little bit of a better opportunity to try and get above the cut line. And Terry, like Jacob mentioned, with more points being on the board, with it being only points down to P20, not points further down, could lead to a bit of an easier time for these drivers to try and get further above the drivers under the cut line.
Well, it also allows you to make a mistake. We've seen in real life NASCAR and in all of other forms of motorsports, if you have the massive fields, it takes away the opportunity to maybe have that hiccup on pit road or spin your tires on a restart because you fall so far back and you just kick yourself because you got to pass all those cars again. Here at Richmond, if you go back to 30th, you're not coming back up to the front. You're going to need a string of caution. There's not many laps. So this allows them to make that one mistake, give them a mulligan to maybe get a good finish. And if they can't rebound, they only have to go 20th place points. That's not a bad night.
Continuing to run, of course, everybody's single file for the moment, getting settled into this first stage. It'll end at lap number 55. Good look at Zach York there, who's trying to fight up from P14. He's currently sitting in the point standings, a little bit outside the cut line, 4 points outside to be exact. How about Ralph Hutchison? He has had a really good season, a handful of wins for him this season, and specifically 2 wins, one of those coming at Darlington, live here on Podium Esports, Jacob. So we know the 51 knows how to get to victory lane, and he's not locked into the next round, but being third, 51 above the cut line. A good night tonight. He'll be locked into the next round on points when we go to the cutoff race at Bristol next week.
The only thing he should be worrying about, I think, is how in the world is he going to beat the 2 guys in front of him in points, Vincent Arthur and Boyd Hogan? Because when Boyd Hogan hasn't been dominant and winning, Vincent Arthur has pretty much been the guy to pick up the torch and run with it. Arthur's right in front of Hutchison right now, That's 5th and 6th. And you got to go way up there to Hogan, who's leading this deal. So if Hutchison can find a way to beat Boyd, to beat Arthur consistently all the way to the final race at Phoenix, I think Hutchison's got a great shot. But he's got a long way to go in a short amount of time to get there.
On board with Channing Baloo here, and I want to bring him up just for a moment because he is relatively new to the MSRA Premier Series, only a handful of starts coming into tonight. Last race we broadcasted was the final race of the regular season for the MSRA Premier Series from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Channing Baloo had such a strong car, but got caught up in an incident, had some issues, and then went all the way to the back and ended up finishing P32. And it was just about heartbreaking for us here in the booth. He was so dominant. He led 4 laps that night, which doesn't sound like a bunch, but when you consider that he started on the pole and then Boyd Hogan went right around him on the outside line, becomes a little bit better to see, okay, he did really good that night. And he's, of course, Boyd Hogan's teammate at Legacy Esports. And speaking of teams tonight, we get a look at that teammate from Legacy Esports, Boyd Hogan, now out in front by about 2 seconds. The playoffs, Terry, are really split between a ton of different teams. Only 2 teams have 2 drivers on them, or excuse me, 3 teams have 2 drivers on them in the playoffs. 13 teams are representing 16 different drivers. If that doesn't go to show just the scope of skills here in the MSRA Premier Series. And now, we might have some dominance from Boyd Hogan, Vincent Arthur. I even throw Logan Helton in there with his 3 wins. There is a ton of points to be gained in the mid-pack, and we have a ton of drivers who are competitive in that mid-pack.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys back here. We've seen consistent battles so far just in this race alone. And I watched a couple weeks ago, seeing these guys come around here, the last race you guys did on podium. There's not a lot of separation between the guys about 7th on back. They're right next to one another consistently throughout the race. And if one of those guys are going to have to step up, because like you said, Boyd Hogan, Theodore, those guys are stepping away with it. We got to see who that second group, that second wave of people are that's going to come out of that mid-pack to maybe contend for the win, if not a championship. And it starts here tonight at Richmond.
Scott Schroeder with the manual disconnection from the pit lane. He'll be finishing P20 tonight. And that leaves us with 19 drivers to go fighting here at the virtual Richmond Raceway for the MSRA Premier Series. Still Boyd Hogan out in front. Joseph McWhorter comes home in P2 for the moment. Clayton Hoffman in 3rd. Chris Sivera 4th, with Vincent Arthur rounding out that top 5. And issues in the back. One car around. John Mullins. The caution flag is going to fly. Mullins and Whitford make contact in turns 3 and 4. And the first yellow flag of the night is out, and a banged up number 64. That is not going to spell good for Mullins. Comes in 3 points above the cut line tonight, Jacob, and some issues going through turns 3 and 4 takes them out. Looks like it might have been contact with the 49 of Zach York. He was going for a pass in 3. There's the contact, and they slam into each other once. Mullins goes spinning up to the wall, and the 44 of Whitford nowhere to go.
I don't know if that was just him misjudging the side draft there or what, but man, Mullins just missed it here. He get right on board with Deweese, and I mean, wow, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he thought that there was enough room there and just misjudged it. But that's got championship implications written all over it for the 64 and the 49, because he didn't get away from that scotch-free either.
He definitely did not. If he has damage to that machine, that could lead to him making multiple trips down into the pit road. On board now with the number 444 machine of Derek Whitford. And you can see him. You can see everything happening in front of him. Thought he'd be clear, and there was that contact, and spins right down into the apron, and a hard hit down there. And unfortunate for Whitford, his first start here in the MSRA Premier Series tonight for Cool Breeze Racing. Gonna end, unfortunately, with him getting caught up in an incident. He's in the pit road now, or he's going to come into the pit lane this time by. We'll see if he can get that damage repaired. Everybody exiting the pit lane. Top 4 stay out. Boyd Hogan stayed out. Vincent Arthur stayed out. Channing Baloo and and Logan Helton staying out there as well. Terry, I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that strategy, because now Joseph McWhorter is going to be restarting from P5, or he's going to be on those fresh tires. It's going to be a bit of a game of turtle and rabbit here, with Boyd Hogan, Vincent Arthur, Channing Ballou, and Logan Helton up front, all on 30 some odd lap bolt tires, and everybody behind him on fresh rubber.
Well, I might be the one that's negative on that one. I think speed outweighs grip any day of the week. I think Boyd Hogan, Vincent Arthur, those guys are the fastest too. I mean, setting down the fastest lap times across the board, and by almost a mile, they're able to set these fast lap times. So fresh tires are going to be good. You're going to start seeing some comers and goers. You might see, I think Logan or Joseph could get up there and make a run at this. And if he can get in front of Boyd, it's going to be fun. But we know Boyd wants to win as many races as he can, so he might be a little bit on the defensive here.
So we work under the yellow flag, just under 20 laps to go here in the stage. It will end on lap number 55. It's Boyd Hogan out in front, and we would like to remind you that FSM Customs is a proud sponsor of the MSRA Premier Series. FSM Customs offers custom button box builds for sim racers across different disciplines of racing. In addition to boxes, FSM also offers custom decals to customize your rig even more. Flip the switch on your sim rig and check out FSM Customs on Facebook. Build looking to get 2x2 once again, and looking to go back racing here from virtual Richmond. Top four right now, those first two rows occupied by drivers that stayed out on this yellow from 5th all the way back to P18 roughly, all on fresh tires. Jacob, this is going to be a bit of a wild restart, and I think it's going to be a true test of really how bad the tire wear is going to be tonight. If the top four continue to have a stranglehold over this race, it's going to be a much different story in the pit strategy.
They always say cautions breed cautions, and this is the breeding grounds for that. When you've got four guys on old tires and everybody back there on new tires, this is going to be sloppy.
Pace car down and away. Boyd Hogan's on the loud pedal. We're back underway from virtual Richmond. Closing in on the end of stage number 1. 3 wide for P2. Diving to the bottom is going to be the 32 of McWhorter. Those fresh tires are working for the number 32 machine. He's already going to challenge Boyd Hogan for the race win. They are side by side, and taking the lead is going to be Joseph McWhorter. The fresh tires are coming in strong for the 32. Another driver on fresh tires, Ralph Hutchison, now up to P3.
What a launch for Joseph McWhorter. Slides himself into the lead. He's got Hogan now has company from Ralph Hutchison, who's also on fresh tires. Looks like Hutchison will take that spot without any trouble. So really, fresh tires are the move. These guys that stayed out, I guess maybe they're learning. But yeah, you're going to want to pit next time there's caution. You've had 30 laps on your tires. I think that's what they've learned the hard way here.
Tara, we talked about the tire wear at the opening of the broadcast. Think the exact same thing can be repeated now. Everybody who stayed out definitely is starting to question that decision as Boyd Hogan falls to 4th. Zach York starting to go around Channing Ballou, about to get around Boyd Hogan. Yeah, fresh Goodyear tires are going to be a premium tonight, just like you said.
Yeah, and I think maybe the four guys that stayed on the racetracks hoping for a late race caution, remember, there's 5 sets. So they've already used one. If on the stage break, they're going to come take tires again. So that's 2 to their 1. And every time they come down to take their tires, they're always going to remember those 4 guys are like, I have a set in the back. And you see how good they're working now. Imagine a caution with 10 or 15 laps to go. Those 4 come down with fresh tires. They're coming through the field like a really angry teenager.
Very good point about the tires there, because they are saving a set in the pit lane by not pitting yet. But Jacob, I don't know if it's really going to be huge in the long run of this race, because especially if we get to that point where it's in, like you mentioned, cautions breed cautions. If we get caution after caution after caution after caution in that last stage or in stage number 2, I don't see them pitting that much for tires, so they're saving tire sets in the pit lane there as well. So staying out to save a tire set doesn't seem like the best move just by how this race is structured.
Well, and you're going to run into a problem when there are 4 guys that have that extra set and 15 guys that don't. You know, instead of Joseph McWhorter and Ralph Hutchison having to pass 4 cars to get to the lead, Boyd Hogan's going to have to pass more than half the field to get to the lead. You get a caution with 10 to go, you get a restart with about 7 or 8 to go, having to pass more than 1 car a lap without cautions, it's going to be a nightmare situation for those guys. So I think if you stayed out here, you're going to be in trouble the rest of the way unless more people decide to change strategy as time goes on. But we're inside 10 to go in the stage here, so I think we're pretty much locked, at least for stage 1. Stage 2, we could see a little bit of a roll of the dice, but not out of anybody that pitted already. And I think the people that stayed out, they've learned their lesson now.
Definitely interested to see how the remainder of this race is going to be, and if any of the drivers that pitted under that caution break there are going to pit under the stage break that's coming up in about 8 laps. Make that 7 laps as Joseph McWhorter goes by the start-finish line. Catching up on the battle for P5, Brandon Davis sits in 5th in the number 91 Podium Esports machine. Jacob Shorba sitting there in 6th place, second in line here. John Theodore catching up in P7 as TJ Crampton tries to join the battle from P8, and looking a little bit racy early on here. And Terry, we saw a little bit earlier on in not only on this run that we're on right now, but also earlier on in this race in the beginning part of stage number 1, we saw drivers get racy. We saw them go 2 wide, even 3 wide at some points on that restart. It's a little bit different with this package, obviously. You don't have the gigantic spoiler in the back causing so much dirty air. You can run a little bit closer to the car in front of you, but you also got to be careful with the braking zones. That could also lead to more contact going into the corners, as we see Clayton Hoffman get a huge run on Ryan Strunk. Going down to the bottom in turn number 3 goes the 77. They'll stay side by side coming off the corner.
You look at that Tennessee native right there in the 12. Good old Tennessee boys. He's getting a run at the 77 right there. Ryan's been holding that high line, not messing up his tires too much. He's getting a good launch off the exit, and now they're side by side. Here comes Clayton. He's going to think twice of it because now he got that huge run. The momentum off that second group goes back to the bottom. And I tell you, that 77, that's a beautiful paint scheme right there.
Great looking paint scheme on Ryan Strunk tonight, as well as a handful of paint schemes in this field. They decorated up, of course, patriotic, and every patriotic scheme looks great. Who are we kidding? Anything with the red, white, and blue on it looks absolutely stellar out there on the track, especially under the lights here at Richmond. It's 2 to go here in stage number 1, getting geared up for that stage break, and Joseph McWhorter trying to keep out in the front of this field. Ralph Hutchison getting a little bit of fire from Chris Severa behind as they go racing off of turn 4. White flag for the stage is out with Joseph McWhorter. We'll see the caution flag after this lap, and Severa running right up to the outside line. Hutchison runs the middle. The 62 tries to run up next to the wall. They'll stay side by side as they race down the back straightaway into turn 3. Hutchison way down on the bottom line now. Severa up by the wall. It'll be Hutchison winning the battle for second. Winning the battle in the stage is going to be Joseph McWhorter. He'll take home the stage 1 win for Ground Zero Racing. And what a run that was for the 32. And the caution flag now is going to fly here from the Richmond Raceway. A fantastic stage win for the 32 of Joseph McWhorter. Your stage 1 winner presented by Shorba's Racing Graphics. SRG offers great services at affordable prices with iRacing paints, logos, numbers, and even t-shirts. $5 from each sale are donated to the Midwest Sim Racing Association End of Season Prize Fund. Visit them on Facebook at Shorba's Racing Graphics. Time to see who's going to make their way into the pit lane, and as they work their way in, Jacob hits. It looks like everybody is going to be choosing fresh Goodyear tires and 2 cans of Sunoco fuel as everybody hits the pits.
it's feeding time at the zoo. Everybody is coming to pit road for tires and fuel because we saw how it did not work on that last run. So you got to come and get tires whether you have pitted already or not. This is the right call for everybody in the field here.
And we'll see what's going to happen with the drivers who also took 4 tires on that last stop. And it looks like everybody going to choose 4 tires again. So that'll leave the drivers who didn't pit with 4 tire sets still left in the pits. Everybody else with 3. And it's still McWhorter back out in front. It's Hutchison in second, Sivera, York, and Shorba going to take that top 5 here coming out of the pit lane. And your stage 1 winner being the 32 of Joseph McWhorter. It is time now for the Pit Road Report presented by Capital Auto Group. Based in Salem, Oregon, Capital Auto Group is a car dealer that will meet and exceed your high expectations each and every time. Their experienced sales staff is eager to share its knowledge and enthusiasm with you. You can browse their inventory, schedule a test drive, and investigate financing options online at www.capitalauto.com. Joining us now in the booth, it is Joseph McWhorter, your Stage 1 winner and our in-race reporter tonight. Joseph, how's that car feeling? Must be feeling pretty good, Stage 1 winner.
Yeah, this thing's feeling amazing tonight. This is probably, John's been making really good adjustments on this thing all night throughout practice and tonight. I needed the points and we got a fast race car, and I mean, it feels good having this thing up front with everything on this thing, with, FDNY, you got the 911 stuff, and then on the trunk lid, we got the 13 service members we lost 2 weeks ago. So it's up where it needs to be, and hopefully we can keep it up here tonight. And that's twice you guys pulled me in while I was taking a drink of water.
Well, of course, you need to stay hydrated, and there you go. Get more of that water in there. Stay hydrated when you're in the sim rig. But going into this restart, coming off of stage number 1, what are your expectations for the remainder of this race? Can you hold on to this race lead?
Yeah, I think we can. The car is turning really, really well. I mean, we had a pretty good bit of a lead right there on that restart, and we stayed with Boyd on that first run pretty decent. I made a couple of mistakes and was a little bit tight, and then I think we fixed that issue, and it's been 10 times better after that pit stop. So I think we have a pretty good chance. We won here last night, so all those notes from the Xfinity race has been a big help.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in the booth again, and hopefully we're talking to you in Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. I hope to see you guys in a bit.
Well, number 32 of Joseph McWhorter, your Stage 1 winner there. We'll very quickly catch up with Ralph Hutchison here in the Capital Auto Group Pit Road Report. He's standing by with Jacob Pitts.
Second place throughout that stage. Strategy, clearly a big part of it. Do you think tires are the way to go pretty much every time there's a caution?
Not really sure yet. Definitely wanted to try some short run experiments there on our lockdown Ford Mustang. About to go green here. Thanks, guys.
No problem. Ralph Hutchison coming to get the green flag on the outside of Joseph McWhorter. Here we go, Josh.
Right back to it, and on the gas goes Joseph McWhorter. Stage number 2 is underway. Great start for that number 32, already going to get about a car length lead. Hutchison going to settle into P2. Look at Zach York using that outside line to power around. Chris Severa there for P3. The 49 is going to take that spot as everybody starts to single file out. Bottom of the racetrack, still dominant as they run their way off the corner. Side-by-side battle, a little bit further back for P7. It's Theodore and Crampton as they go into 1, Terry.
Yeah, they go into 1. They're still side by side, and they got a Hornet's nest behind them. Here comes the 77 and the 12. They continuously fall back, but now the big story is, can the guys who didn't take tires that came down under that stage break, can they rebound to the front? Boyd only dropped to the 14th place position. Can that group of guys make their way through this field as we begin stage 2?
And interesting to note, the top driver out of those drivers who didn't pit midway through stage 1 in that caution is currently Vincent Arthur, who is working his way past Clayton Hoffman for P10. Side-by-side battle for P4, as trying to work his way around the number 30 of Jacob Shorba is Chris Severa on the outside line. Shorba going to power in on the bottom as TJ Crampton looks like he just got a little bit of a shot from Vincent Arthur working their way through 1.
Yeah, that got scary there through 1 and 2. These guys further back through the field, they're driving a lot more aggressive as Theodore gets run into the back up by the 77 there through 3 and 4. It's going to stack everybody else up. I think that's 6th on back. these guys not being patient in the back of the field, but I tell you what, Boyd Hogan is sitting in 14th spot right now. He has been the fastest car of the race since the drop of the green flag. In fact, he does have the fastest lap of the race. He's been able to go nowhere on these fresh tires. Clean air means a lot, and I think this strategy really hurt him, at least on the short run, guys.
And I definitely think, Terry, now everybody's kind of going to be on the same page, because the drivers that did not pit for track position just about immediately lost it. So I think tonight Goodyear tires are going to be much more of a premium than track position will be. But at the same time, we're seeing the drivers who got pushed to the back in the pit lane struggle to get their way up through the field. Could it be that this track is a much more single groove? We're not seeing too much side-by-side racing. Or could it be just the dirty air? They're stuck behind cars, giving so much of a wake behind them that they just cannot find a way around.
This is one of the hardest tracks to pass at. We just did the Retro 500 at Darlington, and that one is just as difficult as this one. You have to paint the bottom line. There's a couple cars who have been aggressive in that middle line, but we haven't seen rubber get laid down yet. So as the run progresses, if people want to venture up there, you're going to have to find somebody with a set of steel to go up there and be the first ones to do it. The more cars we see run the high line, the later in this race is the better racing we're going to see, with about 10 laps to go when it is time to go for it.
Ooh, still battling side by side. They went single file between Arthur and Davis, but picking up that side by side bug is going to be Hoffman and Strunk as they go racing into turn number 1. Take a look at who's right behind him. Boyd Hogan going battling with TJ Crampton. There's the exit the corner. Hogan trying to cover off that spot. Almost did, but he does eventually get it. It wasn't fully clear. That 61 there for a moment, was able to do it, working his way down the back straightaway. Back into 1, Strunk not giving up on that inside line. Same thing for Jacob Shorba, trying to get by Zach York, painting that bottom line like you mentioned, Terry, but Jacob, as they work their way through turns 3 and 4, York able to power around on the outside line. So it looks like that inside line very dominant from entry to middle, but you can get a bit of a run off of the corner on the outside line if you know how to use it.
York's been the only driver I've seen this entire race that's been able to make a path on that high side. He's kind of sailing it in there just a little bit. He's not very aggressive on the entry, but on exit, man, he is really putting a show on for us tonight. He's 74 laps in. You would think that that rubber would be laid down on that middle groove, but it's not. York might be the guy that's going to do it. He's got it all figured out so far.
Working our way through stage number 2 on board with Jacob Shorba. You can see how much he's moving that wheel coming down the front straightaway. A little bit difficult on exit of 4 and entry to 1, with it being a curved front straightaway, and you can see him trying to force his way to the bottom to get around Zach York. Does not work. He in fact loses a bit of time. Now Chris Sivera goes to the outside line to try and make a pass, trying to get that spot, just cannot do it. And you're on board with Boyd Hogan now. No surprise, Jacob, that he's cutting his way back up through the field. I mean, look at that. We can see the battle for third from the little Boyd Hogan, and sideways goes Jacob Shorba off too.
Yeah, Shorba's been loose a couple of different times on this green flag run, trying to get by the 49. Just on exit, puts the power down, and that thing wants to spin out. That thing's not handling to his liking. But I tell you what, Boyd Hogan, yeah, he's moving back up through the field, and we kind of expected him to do this. But it has taken him a long time to get back up there. It's taken him almost 20 laps to get back inside the top 5 since the drop of the green flag on the restart. So this shows me that, yeah, he can pull strategy, but if you're in the back of the field without clean air, you're going to struggle to slice and dice through the rest of the field.
Back into the top 5 goes the 96. Vincent Arthur trying to follow Boyd Hogan into that top 5. He goes side by side with John Theodore down the back straightaway. How good is the bottom line going into turn number 3? It's going to work with Arthur for the moment. It's going to fully work as he goes right on by. Look at this Hornet's nest back here. Brandon Davis going to the inside of Clayton Hoffman. Sivera in the middle of this group is Ryan Strunk going to squeeze down to the bottom as Channing Ballou tries to poke his nose in there in the 2. Put a blanket over these 5 drivers. They're all racing from 7th all the way back to P12.
Yeah, I mean, they're battling back here like a bull after a clown in a ring, man. I mean, everybody wants these positions. Now we're 3 wide going into 1. The middle guy wanted to back out, but now they're starting to figure it out. They can go from bottom to top. They're going to do it all night long. You got 120 laps to go. It's time to get a little bit more racier and know that it's go time. They saw that track position was a big key to what these guys did at the end of stage 1. Now it's time to get up there and get after it.
Back to the podium positions goes Boyd Hogan. Hoffman now stuck on the outside line. We go on board with the 12. Now running behind Channing Ballou. He is sitting right in P10. Ryan Strunk looking to try and get around him for that 10th spot, but Channing Ballou is looking to try and get around John Theodore as they race into turn number 1. You're on board with the 77 of Strunk, and you can see that side-by-side battle up in front of him between Ballou and Theodore. Ballou looking for that spot. He's going to try and pull Theodore down into turn number 3. Just barely able to do so, and he's going to clear him coming off turn 4. Looking like now, Jacob, that outside line, it's much like the outside line at Martinsville, can be useful, but when it turns very unuseful very quickly, and that seems to be the switch that just flipped for the 27 of John Theodore, falling like a rock on the outside, trying to find any way to the inside he possibly can, as we take a look at Logan Helton making a move on Crampton for P13.
Yeah, the outside line here probably has more of a benefit than Martinsville, but it's tough to use it. You can't really use it for a long period of time just because it's going to eat your tires up more than if you're down on the bottom of the racetrack, which is why I don't think we're going to see as many people use it as we get later and later on in the green flat front. But fresh on a restart, they're going to be trying the outside line like crazy, just trying to get any spot they can, because when you're on the bottom, you can't go anywhere because everybody's lined up on the bottom. You go to the outside line, you might be able to pick a couple people off because there's a lot of free real estate up there.
Still working our way through stage number 2. This stage will end on lap 110, 55 lap stage 1 and 2, as Chris Severa goes away up the track. That'll open the door for Clayton Hoffman down on the bottom, and Severa now going to try and hold off Ryan Strunk for P9. Not going to work out too much as Strunk gets a huge run coming into the corner, forced to get out of it to avoid hitting the number 12 of Clayton Hoffman, and Strunk gained a spot but quickly lost it back. Terry, I don't know if that was an attempt at a slide job, but that was a very harsh move there from the 77 of Ryan Strunk, and just went right up the track to avoid hitting the 12, and now is trying to fight off Brandon Davis, who's coming up to his rearview mirror and trying to get back into the inside of the 62.
Welcome to short track racing on a Saturday night. You got to get in there. The 77 understands, like we've been talking about, you have to get track position. If you just sit here and you're just so happy about sitting in 14th position, you want to be stagnant, that's fine. Ryan doesn't want to be that. He's going to get in there as best as he can and hope that it sticks. But what I think had happened is when he got into the corner, he completed the pass but didn't realize that the guy in front of him was slower than molasses. He got there, he figured it out, and then he had to back out of it, slid up the track, and he lost all the positions he gained.
Get a great look at the leader and current in-race reporter, Joseph McWhorter. Back to this battle with Strunk, who is now trying to hold off Zach York, and able to do so. He'll take over that 9th spot. York back to 10th. Brandon Davis now going to the inside of York, as York's going to go way up the track. He hits the wall going into turn number 1. He's going to lose a spot to Brandon Davis, and here comes Logan Helton to try and pick off the number 49. He flew a little bit too close to the sun there, Jacob. I'm not sure if that 49 machine has any damage to that right side, but he went up and slammed the wall going into turn number 1, trying to get that perfect arc, and it is up next to the wall to dive it into turn number 1. But as Helton tries to power on by, York needs to be careful not to do that again. It could lead to even more consequences as he's sideways coming down the straightaway.
Yeah, he needs as much help as he can get just to try and make the next round of the playoffs. That's not going to help him. He had a strong run to start the stage, but he's just falling back and back and back, and with that mistake, I think that's really going to cost him more than anything.
Down 4 points to the cut line. He needs to beat Brandon Davis. Is right on by. Goes Boyd Hogan. He can say bye-bye to Ralph Hutchison. Put the 96 back up into P2. But it's a 2-second gap now in between your leader, Joseph McWhorter, and Boyd Hogan sitting there in P2. Jacob Shorba trying to hold on to P4. He might have Channing Ballou joining this battle here in a moment. And right on just a handful of tenths back there is Vincent Arthur. Same thing with Clayton Hoffman as these four drivers battle for P4 on the racetrack. Here comes Channing Ballou. Is he going to go too wide down into 3, Terry? Yes, he does. Here comes the 2 to the inside of the 30.
Yeah, they're side by side coming off the exit of 4. The 2 really got a good arc into the corner, was able to rip it up off the exit right there, and now they come down the front straightaway, still side by side going into 1. 30's going to try to pitch down there, but then swing back up high, and that's going to allow the 2 to drag race him, and he clears him on the back straightaway.
Great move from Channing Ballou as he powers his way past Jacob Shorba for P4. Hoffman able to get by Vincent Arthur as well, so both halves of this 4-car battle swapping spots. Look at the run for Vincent Arthur down to the bottom. He almost had an opening. It was closed just a little bit, maybe about a quarter of a car width there as they went through the corner. But Jacob, we're starting to see drivers that run about a half a lane up are slower than the drivers that are pinning the bottom line. But the catch-22 is by running about a half lane up from the bottom line, they're able to keep the bottom line blocked so that driver that's running behind them can't use the run to get by.
Yeah, but still, you're basically cheese grating your tires by running the middle, by running that second line compared to the guys on the bottom. So it's going to take longer for the person on the bottom to get by you. Yeah, you may even need to bump you to get you out of the way. But I still think the outside line works on a restart. After 15, 20 laps, it starts to lose its grip a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. We haven't had a caution yet in this stage, so we're coming to, like 45 laps through this run. The outside line, the people that are still running the outside line, they are screaming right now. Their tires are screaming just because there's no grip up there.
Well, as they come across the line, Joseph McWhorter goes right on by, your current race leader. On board with him now as Boyd Hogan is starting to close that gap in for the lead. 11 laps to go here in stage number 2. We'll have another Capital Auto Group pit road report when we go under this stage break, and it'll be 10 to go in the stage right now as McWhorter comes across the start-finish line. Terry Hogan starting to chip away at the gap, but 10 seconds to go. We could see Joseph McWhorter go 2 for 2 tonight in the stage wins.
Yeah, his lead is dropping like a brick in a pond. And, I mean, I get the point about Boyd's tires. I bet they are squealing like a hog, but he's making it work. He's ripping the outside. He's doing everything right, and consistently throughout the run, he's been better. He's been better by 7/100ths of a second as we come around here. He's dropped it from under 4 seconds to 1 second, and now under a second. 0.8 of a second separate this lead. Here comes Boyd Hogan. He's looking for stage 2 to make a wrong or right.
Boyd Hogan, a handful of times this season, has won the race and all the stages. What he has done less is win the race without winning both of the stages in the race. We'll see if that changes tonight as McWhorter is looking to go 2 for 2 in stage wins. Running about the middle line going through the corner there, Jacob. Boyd just scrubbed off a ton of speed. A bit weird to see. Maybe he missed the apex of the corner, went up the racetrack. He's already gained that time back, however. 7.5 tenths now up to your race leader.
Yeah, he's running that outside line, and he's still getting speed out of it. He's still a little less than a tenth faster than McWhorter, but, he doesn't have as much grip just because his tires, yeah, he might have been saving those tires on the outside, but still, you're not going to have as much help as you may want on that outside compared to fresh out of the gate on a green flag run with fresh tires. But Nonetheless, he's closing in that gap lap. Traffic starting to be a bit of an issue now for McWhorter, so we may not be done with this stage just yet as we cross 10 to go.
5 to go here in the stage, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
55. Get your math right, Jacob. Come on. I know, I know it's been a long day. Come on, get the math right for the people at home. But 5 to go here in the stage. About to become 4 as these laps continue to tick off and tick off and tick off. About 22 second lap times in the north side of that as well, closing in on about 23 seconds on worn tires. The lap times here at Richmond. And in this final stage, Terry, just previewing it, we're going to be going green with I'd say about 85 laps to go. If you were a crew chief up on the box, if you were one of the drivers in the car tonight, what are you doing in this final stage? Are you cutting it in half? Are you going 55, pitting, then going to the end? Are you going to try and go all the way to the end on the tires? What's your plan going into the final stage if you were down the track?
I'm pulling a hairy hog. I'm putting my feet up on the pit box and saying, driver, it's all you. I'm eating ice cream. I mean, they're going to have to. They're going to have to pit. At some point in time, I think the split would be the smart decision. But then again, these guys are much smarter than I am. You've got guys in here with great licenses around this racetrack. I would think that their crew chiefs are probably telling them we're going to split this 50-50 tonight.
So you would be finding the pizza and beer place on the back of the pit box then in this final stage?
Yes.
Oh, coming to the line. White flag here in the stage this time, and it's still McWhorter that is going to hold that spot. Boyd Hogan going to look to the outside here for a moment. Let's see how this battle is going to end. McWhorter able to hold him off. He didn't need to hold him off this much in the first stage to get the win, but as Hogan goes to the outside line, is it going to be enough? No, it will not. Joseph McWhorter goes 2 for 2 in the stage wins tonight. Hogan comes home P2, Hutchison third, Ballou in fourth, and a side-by-side battle coming to the line for P5, but the caution flag is going to fly before they reach the line, and I believe it'll be the 30 of Jacob Shorba taking that spot. Yes, it will be. No, it actually will not. I believe Severa got it in the number 62. Yes, he did. Give fifth to Chris Severa, but give the stage win to Joseph McWhorter. Your stage 2 winner is presented by HutchCo. HutchCo has been proudly serving the northeastern Colorado community since 1999, pouring the foundations of countless homes and shops. The MSRA commemorates their service as their business ends operations. HutchCo has long desired to be involved in racing and has joined the Premier Series to fulfill that dream. Thanks to HutchCo for their service. Everybody into the pit lane, Terry. Definitely not a surprising thing to see as everybody works their way in. Not a single driver on the lead lap staying out. Actually, I lied. Stephen Davis staying out on the racetrack. He's grabbing a wave around, so he'll get back to the lead lap, but everybody else is in. Let's see if McWhorter can make it out of the pit lane, restart stage 3 in the lead.
Man, I ain't surprised everybody's down pit lane right now. Tires are at a premium, and nobody wants to be the person out there in the first car as a sitting duck. I think McWhorter's going to beat him off pit road, and yep, he's easily going to beat him off, and I think Boyd's going to flip to third. Hutchison comes off P2.
What a run out of the pit lane for Ralph Hutchison in the number 51. He is going to be restarting in P2 on this restart for stage number 3. And Channing Ballou also going to find himself back up here towards the front in P4. Vincent Arthur is going to be looking to restart from P5 in the number 24 machine. But it is Joseph McWhorter who was able to grab the stage victory, and Terry Radford will get a word in with our in-race reporter, Joseph McWhorter. And once again, this pit road report is presented by Capital Auto Group. Terry?
What's up, stage number 2 winner, 1 and 2. Joseph, how you doing out there?
Oh, brother, I'm doing good. This red Camel Racing Chevrolet is really fast. I was a little bit conservative right there. Man, boy got to me, and I just wanted to make sure I still had some tire to fight him off if I needed to. So we were playing that stage really smart. We just need to keep doing what we're doing, just minimizing mistakes. And I made a couple in that run too. But I mean, we got such a fast car tonight. Just need to try and keep him behind us.
Well, no water drinking on this one. We'll pass it on up there. I think we're going to talk to the guy finishing second.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah, great to hear again from Joseph McWhorter. We are going to transition over to Ralph Hutchison in the number 51. Second place in that stage. Ralph, car changing any from stage 1 to stage 2? How's it feeling still down there in that Fantastic Sam's number 51 machine?
Yep, the Fantastic Sam's of Thornton, Colorado Ford Mustang is just way too tight in the center right now. Definitely took some swings at that on this trip down pit road. Hopefully we made that quite a bit better. That's the limiting factor. So we'll see what happens here. I think a long run is to our advantage.
Well, we'll see if we get that long run here in the final stage, and good luck in stage number 3.
Thank you, guys.
We'll very quickly throw it over to Jacob Hitz. He'll be standing by with Boyd Hogan as we get ready to go back green.
Boyd, you're sitting in third right now. Car looks strong at the end of that run. What do you think you have for the two guys in front of you?
Well, we got a good piece, I can tell you that. Neither of the stages really obviously went our way. I thought I was going to have something for Joseph there at the end. Just needed, honestly, probably 2 more laps. But, yeah, we got something to fight with here at the end. That's for sure.
Well, best of luck the rest of the way, and potentially we'll see you in victory lane at the end of this deal. Josh?
Once again, that pit road report was presented by Capital Auto Group. It's time to go racing in stage number 3. Let's go. It's McWhorter back out in front. Hutchison's going to try and cover off Boyd Hogan. It'll work as they dive into 1. Ballou going to go to the outside of Vincent Arthur, but Terry, that 24, trying to fight on the bottom line, and it's going to work for the moment. He'll dive right back to the inside in 3.
Yeah, still 2x2 right here. The 30's kind of hounded him a little bit, but as he comes off the corner, 24 gets loose. 24 was sideways right there. What a save. What a save. He didn't even let the 30 get next to him. He's going to secure that position and continue fighting on, coming off 2.
Working their way down the back straightaway. Shorba now trying to get around the number 24. This is the battle for P5 as you look on the top of the number 30 machine. Everybody getting settled into stage 3. A little bit of a bottleneck further back from behind the number 42 of Jeff Shutt. John Theodore is going to look to the inside of the 15 of Braxton DeWeese as they work their way off and onto the back straightaway. Everybody else single file, but Jacob Channing Ballou looks like he is eager to try and get around the 51. Got a little bit too hot going down into the corner and blended up the racetrack.
And he's trying the best he can right now just to get any spot he can, but he's got a lot of pressure from that 24, Vincent Arthur. Got to be careful not to give him too much of a hole down on the inside line, because if he does, I'm sure that 24 is going to be peeking to the inside.
On board now, the 24 of Vincent Arthur, as they work their way now across the start-finish line, back into turn number 1. Arthur, like Jacob mentioned earlier, Terry, one of those drivers where if it's not Boyd Hogan winning, it seems to be Vincent Arthur. 6 wins this season. He has won basically anywhere where Boyd Hogan didn't start. Dover, Circuit of the Americas, Charlotte, and around goes Zach York. We're back under the yellow flag.
Tough break right here for the 49. Still looks like he just got in, kind of wheel hopped a little bit. Too hard on the brakes in the center of the corners here at Richmond really makes it difficult. As you just see him just get down here, kind of, he's in 1 or 3 right now, comes off, goes into 1. Maybe he was a little too late on the braking zone, as it looks like, yep, maybe just a little bit, and just back in once stuck on around.
That thing looked loose before he even got on the brakes. Like that thing, he lifted out of the gas to go hit the brakes, and that thing was sideways on him. It just did not look like he had any sort of control on that 49 once he got close to turn number 1.
So Zach York going to pull it into the pit lane, and take a look at that, just almost getting spun around, and then that contact with John Mullins definitely finished it off there. And a tough night for the 49 of Zach York. Comes in under the cut line, and something that we are going to hit on now. We didn't really have time a little bit beforehand, but Logan Helton lost connection to the race server. He is now 5 laps down, sitting in P19. So that is going to severely change the course of the points on the cut line. But with Zach York having those issues now, Terry, I think Brandon Davis having a really good run and Zach York not having a great run, we could see Logan Elton fall all the way to P14 and York go up to 13th, Davis up to P12, but all points are unofficial until after the race.
Yeah, it's going to be, can the guys that haven't made a mistake yet continuously not make that mistake? You see a couple playoff drivers having a little bit of an issue. You just have to stay on your toes here. You know that it's loose here. The mechanical grip is not in this track all the way. We're 124 in, and there's only one groove that has essentially worked the entire race. You just have to be patient and continue doing what you're doing, and they'll find themselves in a good spot at the end of this race.
And as we get ready to go back to racing, we'll let you know of our Strunk PC ones to watch. Check out Strunk PC on Facebook for all of your computer repair needs. Jacob, I'll start with you. I think I know who you're going to have your eye on, but who's your one to watch as we work our way through stage 3?
Well, I don't know, just because Boyd Hogan, he's back in the 11th spot right now. And I don't, where is he? That's because he just pitted. That's the reason that he's back there. So about half the field decided to pit under this caution. Hogan has been strong. But I tell you what, I'm going to go with 32, Justin McWhorter. I think he might be able to hold off Hogan, especially if there's a short green flag run at the end of this deal. I'm going with the 32. Great sponsor on that machine. He's bringing it home to victory lane tonight.
Terry, what say you? Are you looking at anybody up in that top 5? Or are you going to go back to Boyd Hogan and choose him?
I'm not going to take the low-hanging fruit. I tell you, I'm looking at Vincent Arthur. I think he's really what consistency's looking like tonight. Give us a green-white checkered, and I think he's going to put all the cards on the table.
All right, well, nobody took the low-hanging fruit, but I guess I will. Normally, I don't, but that is because all of you guys go for the low-hanging fruit. So I'm going with the 96 of Boyd Hogan. I mean, every time he has been sent to the back tonight, and in pretty much every race, he has just climbed his way right back up to the front. Definitely think we're going to see the same as stage number 3 continues on. That is our Strunk PC ones to watch. And once again, check out Strunk PC on Facebook for all of your computer repair needs. Ready to go back to racing. Lap number 127 of 200. Stage number 3 from Richmond. We're back underway, and McWhorter gets away well, and he is going to clear everybody out in front once again. Hutchison going to try and get down to the bottom. He does cover off the spot on Vincent Arthur, but side by side, Ryan Strunk trying to pull the 30 of Jacob Shorba down the back.
Strunk doing the best he can down low. Pushing Shorba up high just a little bit. Looks like he gets the bite on the bottom of the racetrack off the corner. Not quite clear at start-finish line, but he's going to try and get there in turn 1. Shorba drove it in deep on that high side, though.
And Shorba really trying to use that outside line to his advantage, but still staying side by side in between himself and Ryan Strunk in the 77. Early on these runs, Terry, it does look like that outside line is much better than the inside, specifically here in the early portion of this run. But as they work through the run, that outside line goes away. And it is looks like old Bristol almost out there, that inside line, everybody fighting to get down there. But right now, seems like anywhere you can run, you can take it.
Yeah, if you got grip on the tires, especially with stickers, you come out here, you're able to run 2-3 lines on this racetrack, and we're seeing a prime example of what the 30's doing. Jacob's doing an amazing job putting it out there on the outside to make that pass happen. I don't think Ryan thought that he was going to make it stick. He kind of went in there just a little bit deeper than he would have before, but Jacob did an amazing job, and luckily he didn't tear those tires up that much.
And Jacob Shorba, no wins yet on the season, but 4 top 5s. And check this out, 17 top 10s from the driver out of Naples, Florida. He has the most top 10s out of anybody in the field tonight and in the total field of all the chartered entries for the MSRA Premier Series. So a very consistent season for Shorba, and he is looking very stout tonight. Maybe if the cards fall right, we could see the 30 in victory lane for the first time tonight. We'll have to see how that continues to play out. But Joseph McWhorter at the front of this field. Jacob hits. He had 1 stage win all season before tonight. He has successfully doubled that and then tripled it, going to 3 stage wins on the season, with 2 of them being tonight. McWhorter is having the race that he needed to have tonight in order to stay in the running in the playoffs, coming in P8, 10 points above the cut.
And things are looking good for him right now, to be completely honest. You know, he's got almost a 2-second lead to Ralph Hutchison right now. He's got some of the fastest laps on the afternoon. The only person that's been faster or has set a faster lap is Boyd Hogan. Other than that, McWhorter has just been in a class of his own since the drop of the green flag.
And we, of course, look on board with him being our in-race reporter tonight. Love the VR. I think we've had all the in-race reporters that we have had here on Podium Esports, except for one, be using VR. And I think that one was Ralph Hutchison. I mean, he didn't use any VR. He just had, I believe it was a Fanatec wheel, and then I'm assuming triple monitors, of course, driver for Lockdown Racing, but using the VR here. I like the VR use from a good handful of the drivers in the field tonight. Is side by side, Baloo and Shorba. Baloo right on the bottom line. He'll take over P4 from Shorba. Baloo is having a bit of an up and down race here tonight, Terry. Up 15 spots from where he started. You can see that lowest position of 19th. That's where he started the race. And we've been seeing fast cars from Channing Baloo when he has run here in the MSRA Premier Series. Look at that, powering right around the 24 of Vincent Arthur. A great night for Channing Baloo, and that Legacy Esports Chevy Camaro out in P3 now.
I think what's important to notice is he pitted on lap 122, and he's the first one that's been able to really climb his way up there. Boyd pitted, a couple of the guys back in the back pitted, but right now Channing is the highest guy, and he's making it work. Up 16 positions since the drop of the green flag. He hasn't been the most solid car, but he also hasn't been the worst car on the field. So he's had a nice night, and if this thing goes green to the end, and he can stretch it out, as I say that commentator curse, dang, social media time it is. Yeah, he would have been in the catbird seat.
Caution flag flies, and the 15 looks like he went around Braxton Deweese. Oh my, that was a handful of drivers getting involved in that one. Clayton Hoffman down on the bottom. Looks like Brandon Davis with contact in the 91. He has damage to that number 91 Ford Mustang here. Jacob, it looked like drivers running out of real estate down there in turn 3, leading to a bit of bumper cars being played.
Yeah, just looking like the 15 couldn't hold it down there on the inside line. And Terry Radford, welcome to the Podium Esports Club. The commentator's curse. Congratulations, your jacket will be coming in the mail shortly.
This is number 2 that I've cursed it. I cursed it in the Retro 500 too, and nobody has gotten off my back since then. So it's not a good time.
So unfortunate. Who's on that list? Is it it's Evan Pasoko. We know Evan's on that list. I think, did we have a jinx from Jeff McConey at one point? I think we did. Definitely just had one from Terry. That's going to go into the Hall of Fame there. James Pike, we of course have had jinxes from Pike there as well. So I think I had one somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but you know, we're all in the club. We're all getting jackets. We're going to be the slickest looking gang with our podium leather jackets. But continuing into stage number 3, now we had one yellow, we have another yellow here in the stage, and everybody on our timing screens is coming in except for a handful of drivers. John Theodore looks like he's staying out, John Mullins staying out, but now with everybody on fresh tires going inside 60 to go, we know they can make it 55 laps on tires, Terry, and I think they're going to try and stretch it to 60 now if we don't get another yellow flag.
It's all gonna determine how hard they want to race in these first couple of laps. I mean, looking up here, they're gonna have to get around one guy on old tires. I think if Theodore can kind of play it a little bit, he's on 18 lap older tires than the guys behind him. That makes a ton of difference here. 10 lap tires just move people up to the lead and got the 2 of Channing all the way up there to the 3rd place position. Not going to rule this out. We're going to see another pit stop here tonight.
Jacob, if we do see another pit stop, then that's going to affect how the drivers race on the racetrack, because if they're in the mindset of, okay, we're going to go roughly about 56 laps to the end when we go back to green off of this caution, then they're going to be racing a lot more conservatively. They're going to be racing to make it to the checkered flag. If they're saying, okay, we're going to split this in half, go with a money call strategy, try and keep the freshest tires on the car as possible, they're going to be a lot more aggressive out there on the track trying to pick up track spots.
Right, and we do have a couple of folks that have already pitted 5 and may have taken tires 5 times. Chris Severa, Stephen Davis, John Mullins, Derek Whitford. They've all pitted 5 times. Stephen Davis actually just came back on pit road. He's pitted now for the 6th time. Most of the field has pitted 4 times. Zach York has pitted 8 times tonight. Don't think he's taken tires every single time, though. So some may have 1 set. Vincent Arthur, it looks like, has 2 sets. He's only pitted 3 times. Everybody else should have 1 or none left in the pits.
Who has tires left in the pits and who does not? Getting ready to go back to green here in stage number 3. I'd like to remind you that the MSRA Premier Series is sponsored by Dirty Air 13. You can visit twitch.tv/DirtyAir13 to see Podium's own Gary Sexton usually streaming the MSRA Premier Series on Saturday nights. Not streaming tonight, not racing tonight, but you can, of course, head over there, drop a follow, drop a subscribe, and watch Gary Sexton as he streams quite often over on twitch.tv/DirtyAir13. Here we go, going back to racing in stage number 3. It'll be 56 laps to go here from virtual Richmond. How is John Theodore on 21 lap full tires gonna do here on the restart? Not gonna be well. Here comes McWhorter to the bottom in 1. What's Hutchison gonna do? Is he gonna try and split him 3 wide? Through the middle goes John Theodore, right down the middle. Everybody gonna split him. McWhorter to the front, Baloo to P2. Arthur now gonna try and fight for P3 as Hutchison stuck on the outside.
And John Theodore is sinking like an anchor just through this field. He keeps going back and back and back. He lost 9 spots in just 1 lap, and he's going to lose more as he goes down into turn number 1. But the Davis is pulled to the inside. They get by him. Looks like Shutt is going to try and get there as well. But McWhorter now has some insurance. Pulling away from Baloo. Arthur trying to apply some pressure to him. And Boyd Hogan, things are looking good for McWhorter. Hogan's back in position number 6. He's got a long way to go, and he's running out of laps.
Definitely running out of laps is true, and he now catches up to Jacob Shorba in the 30, who's trying to work around the 51 of Ralph Hutchison. Now everybody in this top 12 are on fresh tires from this last caution, make that top 13 as John Theodore continues to fall down the order, but up front, it is still McWhorter dominating this race, I think, as an understatement now. Basically, since the middle portion of stage number 1, he has been in the lead every single lap, and Baloo has a bit of a tough task in front of him here, Terry, especially if we don't see Boyd Hogan work his way up, back up to the front. But as Hogan goes to the inside of Shorba looking for P5, I definitely think they're going to have to deal with the 96 soon, but the only person who's been able to hold off the 96 tonight is the 32, Joseph McWhorter.
Yeah, 2 fastest cars in the field is 32.96. They have been the class. You see him, Boyd Hogan, going up to the 5th place position right here. We're coming across. We're about to see 50 laps remaining in this race. So it's crunch time. It's time to go. Throw away the pit sheets. Throw away everything else. Hopefully the curse doesn't happen again and we can run 50 straight, because I want to see what Boyd Hogan can do with a non-playoff driver in Baloo and the playoff guy as well with McWhorter.
We'll have to see what happens as this stage goes on, because it's relatively interesting how we're going to see this race work its way down into its final laps, and if Baloo has the speed to catch Joseph McWhorter over a long run. We know Hogan has that speed, but now we see him catching up to traffic here, Jacob, with Arthur and Hutchison battling. Hogan has kind of reached a bit of a roadblock, and this is only giving Joseph McWhorter more time to continue to run away as they'll go side by side into the corner. Arthur outside, Hutchison to the bottom.
Yeah, the gap's a 1.5 seconds to Hogan. And we know Hogan's good on those longer runs, but McWhorter, if he can get out and set sail, that's going to make life really difficult for Boyd Hogan, and he's going to have to be all but perfect the rest of the way if he wants to have a shot at getting by the 32.
They still continue to fight, and Hogan goes up to the outside line, getting an arch off the corner. Take a look at that counter steer. He got loose coming off of turn number 4. A little bit of a slide as he exited onto the front straightaway. Now goes to the inside of the 24 of Vincent Arthur. Looks like that number 96 getting a little bit free on the exit on the outside line there. Terry needs to be careful of that. We've seen Boyd Hogan utilize that outside line, but now this late in the race with 47 to go, you do not want to be sliding the tires like that, because not only will it chew up the tires, you also run the risk of slamming the wall, ending your race right there.
That could have been disastrous if we would have seen him trying to take that 3 wide. You can't get away with so many things here, and he's had the fortune of not having to put himself in a bad position, as now he's in the 3rd place spot. Now he's trying to get past Ralph in the 51. I think he's easily going to get by here. The 51's going to show some respect, knows that he's faster, going to work that outside lane, but the exit of the corner on the bottom is going to prevail, move him up to 3. Now we're going to see the battle in the next 10 laps. 96, 32, best 2 cars on the track.
They only have the 2 of Channing Ballou in between them now. Let's see how close this battle will get here with 44 to go, or if it will continue to develop. You can see on that flyby, McWhorter sitting in first, 6/10 back to the 2 of Channing Ballou. Then you go back to the 96 of Boyd Hogan, another about 1.1 seconds back, a total of 1.5 seconds back now for the number 96 of Boyd Hogan as they run to the back straightaway. Talking about the playoffs, Channing Ballou not in the playoffs this time round, only having 4 starts on the books, one of them being back at Daytona. That was his 2nd start of the season. Looking for a bit more success and finding that as he sits here in P2 right now and just not gaining any significant time to Joseph McWhorter. We saw that gap go from about 6/10 down to about 4.5, just not gaining enough. And on board with Chris Severa, talk about another driver who is just looking to keep up consistency. He is 26 points good to the cut line, currently in P6 in the playoff standings, looking to keep this up here tonight, Jacob.
Yeah, great run for Severa, just trying to build himself a good cushion heading into Bristol next week for the playoffs. Things looking good for the driver of the 62. A great run tonight. He's been up front pretty much all night long. Other than that strategy call at the end of the 1st stage, he's been consistently inside the top 10, almost the top 5.
One more thing about Chris Severa, part of Gas and Go Racing, and like I mentioned earlier, only 3 teams in the playoffs have 2 drivers, everybody else with single drivers. Well, Gas and Go Racing joins Great Lakes Motorsports in being the only 2 teams with multiple drivers in the playoff standings to have both of their drivers currently above the cut line. They have both of their drivers above the cut line rather comfortably. 4th for Clayton Hoffman, 6th for Chris Severa. 38 laps to go from Richmond, and the race only continues to get more interesting as here comes the 96 of Boyd Hogan starting to close in on your 2 leaders. Terry, I'm willing to bet if McWhorter isn't hearing Jaws music by now, he's going to start to hear it relatively soon as the gap goes inside of 1 second.
And he's hoping he could be Ice Cube and make it all the way through the movie, but who knows if he can. Boyd Hogan is coming. It's not good reference. I love that movie. Boyd's making it work. Boyd's working every single lane. He's not running your traditional Richmond line. He's up above the groove of the rubber. I haven't seen that all night except from, who was it? I think, York, the 49. He was running that line. Now the 2 tries to do it. 96 is just getting a heck of a launch off the corner.
And Jacob, last time by, Channing Ballou was faster than both the 32 and the 96. What can Channing Ballou do here? Can he throw a wrench into this whole operation? He's the only driver currently in the top 8 that is not in the playoffs.
Gotta wonder if he's got some tricks up his sleeve here to try and catch McWhorter and make something happen, because he is closing that gap it's good news for McWhorter in the fact that Baloo is between himself and Hogan. The bad news is Baloo is coming, and McWhorter does not like seeing that black and white 2 car getting bigger and bigger in his rearview mirror.
I don't think he likes seeing the blue and black number 96 getting bigger and bigger in his mirror as well. That's exactly what he sees as the top 3 are within 1 second of each other now here at the virtual Richmond Raceway. This race is going to come down to the checkered flag as the 2 gets very loose coming off at turn 4. If there's any time that they do not want to be feeling the effects of tire wear, Terry, it is right now when they're trying to battle for this race win. As Boyd Hogan goes way up the track, trying to get the run off the corner. It worked through about the middle portion of the corner. You can see it working on entry, but Baloo able to pull right back past the number 96 off of the corner.
I mean, these tires are playing like an orchestra right here, and the 32 doesn't want to hear that symphony go. He does not want to see the 2 or the 96 in his back bumper or in his mirror at all, but he has to see it. He's looking at his fate. Only thing he can hope for is, can Channing hold him up? If that's the case, he drives away with this. 31 laps to go. They cross this line. Oh, this is just going to get funner and funner.
Hogan to P2. Now nothing is going to separate himself and Joseph McWhorter as Channing Baloo gives a kiss to the outside wall. Going to try and get back around the 96 of Boyd Hogan. But so far tonight, the drivers who have passed Boyd Hogan on a green flag racetrack, you can count on a single hand. Here comes Boyd Hogan looking to get back to the front. Talking about Boyd Hogan, leads the points, and as he works his way closer to Joseph McWhorter, you can talk about his stats all day long. 12 wins in 19 starts, 15 top 5s, 15 top 10s. Whenever he's finished in the top 10, he has also finished in the top 5, and in 12 of those, he has also gotten the win. 24 total stage wins this season, an average finish of 4.89, an average laps led per race of 80.89, Jacob. It doesn't get any better in the stat book than that for the 96, but with that in mind, tonight, Boyd Hogan has only led roughly about 30 laps at the beginning of stage number 1. He has not touched the lead since then. It has been all the 32 of Joseph McWhorter. It is time for the 32 to prove himself, because he will have to beat Boyd Hogan straight up on the racetrack.
Coming into tonight, laps led percentage. In the races that Boyd Hogan has entered, he has led 95% of the laps that he has run. That's unbelievable. Tonight, obviously going to be a different story. After leading early on, he hasn't been up front since. It's all been McWhorter, so that's going to change things a little bit. But Hogan has been dominant all year long. Look at this battle for 6 between Shorba and Strunk Severa. He's going to make it 3 wide.
Down into 1, to the inside goes Severa. That door going to be quickly shut, however, by the 77 Orion Strunk. Strunk's going to squeeze Shorba on the outside line. That was very close to contact, and he's going to shut the door on Severa as well. They race off turn number 4, still side by side. On board with Crampton, the 61 gets a little bit loose. Severa trying to pull Jacob Shorba down into the corner. Shorba going to try and power around the outside. Not going to work. Severa with the run. That bottom line, he's going to take over P7.
How they made that work, I have no idea, but the 30's still fighting on the outside. He's not going to be able to make it stick. His best bet's to get behind the 62, shut the door on that 61. Don't let the Toyota get by you. This has been incredible racing, and with 24 laps remaining on here, insert heavy Jaws music for the battle for 6. They were having a great time back here, and he's under pressure again. Here comes the 61.
Shorba starting to fall like a rock through the midfield. He goes down to P9, but you're on board with the Great Lakes Motorsports number 30 now, trying to get a run into the corner. Crampton holding his own down there on the bottom, using that inside line to his advantage, but Shorba still able to stay side by side, getting a little bit loose as the 30 as they go back into 3, but Crampton able to hold on. That Gem iRacing Toyota Camry just a little bit faster on the exit of the corner than the 30.
The best battle on the racetrack right now, there's no doubt. about it from 6th on back. Strunk, Severa trying to do all they can to fight for any spot they can get. Remember, these two guys in the playoffs. Crampton is not. He's kind of breaking up the playoff party back here with Shorba, Davis, Severa, and Strunk. So these non-playoff drivers certainly playing spoiler here tonight.
Boyd Hogan in the battle for second place, or battle for the lead, I should say, currently running in second place on the racetrack at the number 96, losing a bit of time. And Terry, we think this probably is due to him saving a little bit of tires, having something to run with at the end, but it could also provide Joseph McWhorter with a bit more time to build up that gap. Assuming the 32 is also trying to take care of those tires, clearly is either not taking care of them as much as Boyd Hogan, or just has better raw speed in that number 32 and is able to conserve them and lead at the same time.
Boyd's put those tires on saute mode. He wants to save as much as he can. Let the leader get in lap traffic. Let him mess around up front all day long. Boyd's going to sit back there. He's only been 100 of a second off of the pace ever since he's got to the P2 position. So I think he's just chilling his tires out a little bit, putting them things on ice. He's going to make a run and start heating it up very shortly.
Up and off of the corner for the battle for P13 here. Sorry, 14th place, John Theodore getting lapped by your current race leader, the 32, Joseph McWhorter. On 59 lap-old tires, Jacob, not exactly the most surprising thing. They go by Stephen Davis as well in the 92. It's been just a rough day for that number 92 on the same tires as Joseph McWhorter. 3 laps fresher, but that is also 3 caution laps fresher for that number 92. Next one on the list for the current race leader looks to be Brandon Davis in the number 91. That is just a little bit further up the road. Actually, it is going to be Braxton DeWeese in the number 15, who's already 2 laps down. These lap cars are going to affect this run to the end with this battle for the lead. If they reach those lapped cars, which I think they will, within these last 15 laps, then they're going to have to race their battle for the lead in between other battles happening on the racetrack and in between other cars racing on the racetrack.
Yeah, the lap cars not being McWhorter's friend right now. Hogan closed it in a little bit for the lead, but really, they've been pretty much even looking at the lap times right now. I mean, McWhorter a tenth slower last time by, this time by, even McWhorter just with an edge. They're running identical lap times, and Boyd Hogan is probably hoping that he gets to see a yellow flag in the air before this thing's said and done, so he can have a chance to pit and try and put something together, a Hail Mary, if you will, to try and take this win from Joseph McWhorter. Good grief.
And Boyd Hogan just a little bit slower now than McWhorter. Last time by a 22.895 for McWhorter, a 22.916 for Boyd Hogan. So just a little bit faster for the number 32 leading this race. 12 to go at the line. That time by, Boyd Hogan was faster, but only by 3/1000ths of a second. If you had any idea that it would be a Boyd Hogan runaway, I think we all thought it at the beginning of this race, Terry, but now we're really seeing the 32 has a chance to win this thing, but he's got to be smart in these last 11 laps. He needs to stay in front at all costs, but he also needs to make sure that he makes no mistakes, runs perfect laps for the last 11, and he can join the very short list of drivers who have beat Boyd Hogan in a race that Boyd Hogan makes a start in, and that list can be counted on one hand. And actually, McWhorter is already a part of that list with a win at New Hampshire. He beat Boyd Hogan twice straight up on the racetrack and joined Vincent Arthur and Logan Helton on that list.
I think right now for Boyd Hogan and for Joseph up front is don't overdrive it. Don't overdo what your car can do. I'm kind of watching the 96. He's going into the corner, and every time he gets back in the gas, he drifts up just about a half a car length. That right there is just shaving a ton of time, and I know he's sitting here, he's completing good laps, but by the time he gets to him, he's not going to have anything left to give at the end of this day. They're going to come to 8 laps to go right here, and I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to go ahead and break the curse now. There will be no more cautions in these 8 laps. We're going to go straight to the finish, and Boyd Hogan is going to stay in the P2 position.
Eric, get the Twitch clip ready. I need you to have it ready to post on Twitter, because if we do get another caution, I think that might join the Podium Esports Hall of Fame as amazing calls here in the Podium Esports commentary booth. But they're continuing to race on. 7 laps to go now, and this is the battle that we have wanted. This is the battle that we knew would happen. Boyd Hogan trying to run for the win. I don't think we really had Joseph McWhorter picked out at the beginning of this race as the driver to try and beat Boyd Hogan at the end of this race, Jacob. But what a race it has been for the 32. Even if the 96 does get around him, what a day for the 32 machine. What a dominating day.
Lots to be proud of for the driver of the 32, but just to mention, the last time Boyd Hogan lost a race in MSRA, who did he lose it to? None other than the current leader, Joseph McWhorter, back in New Hampshire 6 races ago. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the last time Boyd Hogan lost, it was at the hands of the driver of the 32.
Battle for 3rd place going on as the battle for the lead does. Channing Ballou not trying to surrender that spot to the 51 of Ralph Hutchison. Hutchison on the bottom. Ballou going to take a chance all the way up on the outside line. Now, still on that inside line is going to be Hutchison. I thought he would move back into line with the 2. That did not happen. They'll stay side by side. The 51 gets a little bit loose as we go to 4 laps to go here from Virtual Richmond. Boyd Hogan starting to run that line that we saw his teammate, the 2 of Channing Ballou, start to run. Way up on that outside line. Drops back to the bottom. The gap about 7/10 as we have 3 laps to go at the line. Terry, the battle's coming down to the very end. Boyd Hogan needs to hope the 32 makes a mistake at this point.
Yeah, 3 in the sky for the man up high. He ain't dead. He's just a lap ahead. The 32's making a great run for it. He's doing everything he has to do, painting his tires on that yellow line. Boyd Hogan's giving it everything he's got. 2 to go. Richmond. Boyd, I don't think he's going to catch him.
Working their way back to turns 1 and 2. Hogan going to try the outside line again. Not going to be enough as they come down the back straightaway into turn number 3 and 4, and back to the front straightaway. It is Joseph McWhorter that'll see the white flag. It's 1 to go, sponsored by Canterbury RV. This race is official from Virtual Richmond. Back into 1. Can Boyd Hogan make any last minute effort here as they race to the back straightaway? Coming into turn 3, the last short track that was run in the MSRA Premier Series was New Hampshire. The winner was Joseph McWhorter, and he takes it to Richmond. McWhorter wins. Boyd Hogan comes home P2. Hutchison wins the battle for 3rd. Channing Ballou in 4th, and side by side at the line with a lapped car, it's Vincent Arthur that'll take the top 5 in the 24 machine. And guys, the curse is broken. We have had bad luck with all the in-race reporters this season on Podium Esports in the MSRA Premier Series. I didn't want to bring it up to jinx it. I bring it up now. Joseph McWhorter becomes the first in-race reporter on Podium Esports to win and breaks the bad luck curse. Jacob, take a look at that excitement from the 32.
Gotta be happy for winning the race, for the sponsor on the hood of that car, everything that that car represents on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. He's going to take that machine to victory lane at Richmond. I would love to be inside that race car right now because he has got to be smiling. Well, I mean, you can even see it's grinning from ear to ear. So happy that he gets to go to victory lane here tonight.
And you can see just the disbelief on his face as well, and just how much that took out of him. I mean, Terry, we talk about the drivers in real life being athletes in the car, with these races taking all out of them. Very similar in the sim. He was holding off a very fast driver. That took a lot out of the number 32, and he wins a very exciting race here from Richmond.
And imagine the pressure that's on his shoulders. The paint scheme that he's running, got the twin towers on the front of it, red, white, and blue, all the way down the sides of that 32. Everybody remembers where they were when the towers fell on September the 11th, 2001. And now he's never going to forget where he was on the 20th anniversary, showing off the pride of America, the pride of New York City is on the hood of that car. He takes it to victory lane at Richmond.
What a race from Virginia. They say Virginia is for racing lovers, and if you love racing, that was an amazing one tonight from iRacing's Virtual Richmond. It's McWhorter that takes the win. Boyd Hogan in P2, Ralph Hutchison in P3. We'll have interviews with your top 3 winners here in just a moment. Channing Ballou comes home P4, a great top 5 for that number 2 machine, and Vincent Arthur comes home P5. Chris Severa comes home in P6. How about TJ Crampton? A great night for him. He comes home with his 5th top 10 of his career in the MSRA Premier Series. Ryan Strunt comes home 8th, Jacob Shorba in 9th, and Jeff Shutt comes home in 10th. That top 10 for Jeff Shutt, his 2nd of his career, Jacob.
John Mullins brings it home in 11th. He had a rough night tonight. Brandon Davis finishes in 12th. Stephen Davis, the first car lap down, in 13th. John Theodore, 14th. Derek Whitford, 15th. Zach York, a really rough night for him. He needed a good one. He finishes P16. Braxton DeWeese in 17th. Clayton Hoffman, 3 down in 18th. Logan Helton, 10 laps down after having connection issues in 19th. And Scott Schroeder disconnected after only 28 laps. He finishes in the 20th and final position.
Well, we have our race winner and in-race reporter with us, Joseph McWhorter. Joseph, just talk about that entire race. You went hard for all 200 laps tonight, and you come home in victory lane. What does this win mean to you?
Oh, dude, it's huge. I mean, I thought it was a big deal when I won my first race in New Hampshire, but I can't believe we did a whole call. Oh man, this is just amazing. This whole year of my racing stuff has been absolutely phenomenal. Every league that I've been in so far this season, it's been tremendous. And I'm sorry that I'm shaking. Man, God, it just feels so good. We locked ourselves into the round 12. We had this running joke all year whenever I joined this league. Me, John, and my teammate Danny and Mark and everybody, that I'm the nobody, and because I'm the nobody in here. So I set out that I was joking with everybody tonight. I want to prove to everybody that the nobody is somebody.
You had Boyd Hogan breathing down your neck there throughout pretty much that entire last 40 lap stretch to the finish. What was going through your mind seeing the driver who has 12 wins, leading over 95% of the laps that he has run this season, just right behind you within a second, trying to get you for the lead?
I wasn't trying to think, because if I think, I make mistakes. I told my spotter and crew chief, John, I was just like, hey, start counting laps off for me and keep me distance-wise. So he was reading off data every single lap. Hey, this is how far back Boyd is. This is the line he's running, and this is what lap it is. And every single lap from lap 150, all 50 of those laps, he was just reading me off information. And we made one final adjustment on the last pit stop to get it to turn a little bit better, because I was a little bit tight on center. And I've never had a race car in all the years that I've driven on iRacing drive that damn good. Pardon my language, but that thing was just phenomenal. And John did a fantastic job. I mean, we've been working on it since Friday when I get home, and I mean, it's being over the road truck driver, it's hard, having any time to do anything. So it's just, man, I can't believe it. And to hold off Boyd, arguably one of the best to, on iRacing. I mean, he should be in the Pro Series. The dude has so much talent, and I've gotten a chance to race with him so many times so far this year. And finally I got to be on top.
So no pressure on you now for Bristol in 1 week's time, but now you're going to focus your energy over to the round of 12, Las Vegas, Talladega, Charlotte, Roval. Out of those 3, which one do you think is your best chance to grab the win, lock yourself into the round of 8, and do you think that you can make it into the round of 8 against all the other 11 amazing drivers you'll be going up against?
I mean, Las Vegas has always been a really fun track. The Roval is what I'm really looking forward to. I seem to do really good on the road course stuff. I've won there 3 times now in a Cup car, and I actually just won there in my Sunday night league 2 weeks ago, I think, to lock myself into the round of 12 on that league. So, the round of 8. So I'm looking forward to that one. Talladega is kind of a toss-up. So basically, we're just going to go into Las Vegas and do as best of a job as we can. And then Talladega just kind of mess around. I'm going to try and just be kind of, in the back and away from everything, even though we were really fast at, Daytona. But it's just, that's the one I'm looking forward the most is Charlotte.
Joseph, thank you so much for being our in-race reporter tonight. Thank you for joining us post-race. Congratulations on your win from Richmond, your second one of the season.
I got to thank all the sponsors real quick, man. Red Camel Racing for everything that they do. Shorba's Racing Graphics, HutchCo, FSM Customs, Dirty Air 13, Capital Auto Group, Strunk, and Canterbury RV. All these guys that are the ones that make this possible, and you guys for putting it on an awesome broadcast as always.
Thank you very much. That is your race winner, Joseph McWhirter in the number 32. You can see the excitement on his face. Our in-race reporter tonight and the first in-race reporter to win here in the MSRA Premier Series on Podium Esports. We transition over to P2 finisher Boyd Hogan in the 96 for Legacy Esports. He's standing by with Jacob Pitts.
Boyd, a great run tonight, finishing in second place. Is there anything you could have done to get to the back bumper, or were you just stuck in second place unless you had a caution?
No, I don't think there's anything anybody can really do. It's dirty air at Richmond for some reason. I don't understand how we have that on the sim when, I don't know, it's just way too damn strong. You can't do anything with it, can't pass, and that's just part of it once you get on old tires. And I mean, he had more than enough pace to hang on. I don't think I could have done anything different besides just flat foot a fence and get by him that way. But I didn't want to do him like that. That was cool. It was a good brawl for sure. Just I don't know, maybe a 2-tire call or something. Clean air was king, and I realized it at the end of the second stage, so it was pretty much bed was made there. So.
Well, we're moving on to Bristol next week. We did not run this racetrack before, this version at least. We ran the dirt version earlier this year. That was one of the few races that you were in and did not win. Looking for the dub next week in Bristol?
Yeah, for sure. It's the only reason we showed up tonight. It's the only reason we're showing up next week. I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun. Wish we had a little less grip there, but way she goes. It'll be interesting. Be a lot of fun. Clean air will probably be king there too. But yeah, I always love going to Bristol.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks when we return with our coverage of MSRA, and best of luck at Bristol next week.
Yes, sir. Just want to say congratulations to Joseph again. That was badass. It was a lot of fun.
Boyd Hogan, your second place finisher here tonight at Richmond. Josh?
We're going to send it over to Terry Radford with our third place finisher, the 51 of Ralph Hutchison. Terry?
Yeah, what's up, Ralph? Third place tonight. You were right there. I knew you were probably praying for that caution to come out. Walk me through your race. How'd you get up here?
Well, first and foremost, today's a day about remembrance and thoughts and prayers for all the families of those affected by the 9/11 tragedy on the 20-year anniversary. I want to thank the Lord for everything we all have. Secondly, to answer your question, really, really solid car, solid pace. Just, it was never more than solid, though. You know, Joseph was on a different planet. Both of those legacy cars had something that I didn't have. So today was just a day about not making mistakes, making major adjustments, trying to get closer, and just running a smart race here.
Well, you did an amazing job sitting up there in the third place position. Had a good battle with Channing there for a while. Had a good battle in the front. You continuously stayed up there. You didn't really fall back too far. Are you excited for Bristol next week, knowing that it's a back-to-back short track kind of racing event?
Well, mathematically, I should be locked to move to the round of 12 here for the playoffs, so I'm very excited to go to Bristol, which is my favorite track, and have nothing to lose. So, short answer, yes, I'm very, very excited. Want to thank Fantastic Sam's of Thornton, Colorado for coming on board and supporting. Want to thank all the awesome Lockdown Racing team partners. The league sponsors that put this together: Red Camel Racing, Shorba's Racing Graphics, HutchCo, FSM Customs, Sturdier 13, Capital Auto Group, Strunk PC, Canterbury RV. Want to thank all of them for the fact that we get to go for broke next week at Bristol.
Well, go out there and have some fun. Go for broke, and I'll go on a limb, say you're my pick to win next Saturday night. I didn't say that out loud. Have a good rest of your evening, my man.
Thank you. Weren't you the jinx for the race last night? I don't want your jinx.
I was not the jinx for last night. I do not think, but I might
Okay,
be.
all right.
I think that was Pike, man. Don't put it on me.
Okay, all right. All right, I said to make sure, because I don't need any of that negative energy, so thank you, guys.
I've already had one jinx tonight, and I broke it. I'm going to break another one with you. You're going to go take it to Bristol, my home racetrack.
All right, we're going to go give it our best swing, that's for sure. Thank you, guys.
Great to hear from the 51 of Rob Hutchison. I think we might have a candidate for Podium Hall of Fame moments. That was fun. Okay, well, back to what we had here tonight in Richmond. A lot of fun times, but also a lot of great racing. And I think we're seeing a little bit of insight, Jacob, onto what we can see for the rest of the playoffs. Obviously, we have a short track on the horizon in Bristol, but we have more short tracks coming up later in the season and a short track to finish off the calendar with the season finale at Phoenix. So, starting to see how Boyd Hogan is strong, but can be beat on these short tracks. The last two short tracks, he has been beat by the 32.
Well, and what short tracks in the season? Martinsville, of course, and then we go to Phoenix. So back to back, if he doesn't get a win before Martinsville to move him into the round of 4, he's going to need to finish pretty darn good there. Second place may help him. Maybe. We'll see. And Phoenix, pretty much it's a win and you're the champion type deal. It's going to be tough for him. We're going to Bristol next week, a track that when they were there in the dirt, he did not win there. So short tracks appears to be his Achilles heel for now. Whether or not that changes over the next 7 weeks, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, a big statement by Joseph McWhorter winning this race tonight.
Terry, Logan Helton won on the dirt of Bristol, but we're going from dirt to asphalt now with the Bristol Motor Speedway. Races, I'd say similar in the way that it is still Bristol, but it races incredibly different from dirt to asphalt. So Logan Helton's a solid pick, but definitely not having the best performance tonight. And you can attribute that to his connection issues as well that he's had, but he's in a must-win situation now with this 19th place finish going into Bristol. He is going to be trying all that he can, but he's also going to have a handful of other drivers on the bottom of the cut line in must-win situations as well, and he's going to have every other car on the track to deal with at the same time.
Well, I can tell you Bristol is one place that I don't want to go in a must-win situation. I don't know anybody in their life that would go, man, I got to go win Bristol, because it's so technical. You talk about being different from the dirt. After 20, 30 laps, it feels like you're on dirt out there. You just keep sliding off the exit of 2, off the exit of 4. You're constantly looking at the inside pit wall. I feel bad for Logan, but he put himself in the situation, and now he's got to go get the shovel out and dig that dirt up and get to racing on that asphalt.
Well, you can catch the race from Bristol Motor Speedway in 1 week's time. Live again here on twitch.tv/podium2, youtube.com/podium esports, and as well as the Podium Esports Facebook page. A ton of other upcoming events are on the horizon here for Podium Esports, and that all begins tomorrow with the Operation Motorsport benefit, the 4 Hours of the Glen. It is team racing with GT3 and GT4 cars at Watkins Glen. You can catch all the action beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, twitch.tv/podium2, as well as the Operation Motorsports YouTube channel. So the SimMax Cup Series powered by MPI, off the heels of the race from Sonoma, heads to Auto Club, still in the state of California, but a much different race on an oval. That'll be tomorrow night. September 12th, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Also over here on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series playoffs is going to continue on to the Bristol Motor Speedway. If you want a little bit of a preview of what we might see on Saturday night in the MSRA Premier Series, you can tune into that on Tuesday night with Countdown to Green beginning coverage at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/iRacing. Then we go back to Bristol as well for the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing Series. See the trucks race to the Bristol Motor Speedway Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. You can catch myself on the twitch.tv/Podium Esports broadcast and Jacob Hitz leading the booth in the twitch.tv/Podium 2 broadcast. And then the elimination race for the MSRA Premier Series from the Bristol Motor Speedway September 18th, 8 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/Podium 2. You can be with us all the way through to the championship here in the MSRA Premier Series, all the way through to Phoenix, live on Podium Esports. That'll do it for our coverage from the virtual Richmond Raceway. For Jacob Shorba and everybody at the Midwest Sim Racing Association, for James Pike, Cisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium Esports. For tonight's team, our producer Ryan Bauer, cameras by Dougie Beard, and for my colleagues in the booth, Jacob Hitz and Terry Ratford, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast. We hope to see you tomorrow afternoon from the virtual Watkins Glen.